I call Chris Bishop.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Look, the House, I think, is in reasonable agreement on these bills, and so I don't propose to take up too much time. I do just want to respond to a couple of remarks made so far during the debate. The first was the extraordinary suggestion, perhaps unrelated to the actual topic, from Claire Curran that we have some unelected Prime Minister. And of course, in this country, we don't elect our Prime Ministers. That's a completely different system. What we do is elect parties, of which party leaders of whom enjoy the confidence of the House go on to be Prime Minister. And it was a little bit ironic, given the Labour Party changed party leaders twice within 18 months before the 1990 election, and there was no suggestion from anyone at the time that they were unelected. Geoffrey Palmer, as Paul Foster-Bell, I think, pointed out into an interjection that Geoffrey Palmer was unelected or that Mike Moore was unelected. So I just want to respond to that ridiculous claim. Well, if that is the standard of criticism of the Labour Party, of this government, for the rest of this year, good luck to them. Long may it continue. The second point I want to respond to is some more substantive remarks actually made by Dennis O'Rourke, who I have to say does make a good contribution on the Justice and Electoral Committee, and we've been working pretty collegially as committee members over the last couple of years through this inquiry into the 2014 election, and of course these two bills have come out of that inquiry, as the Minister noted in her introductory speech. Dennis O'Rourke has played a good role on that. But he did spend quite a deal of his speech criticising the criteria that the Electoral Commission uses when they're dividing up the broadcasting allocation, the time and money given to political parties. And one of his criticisms was that by-elections are no indication of future electoral performance. Well, how true, exactly as my colleague, the Minister Amy Adams, says, how true. That seems somewhat inconsistent with the 2 years of rhetoric from New Zealand First Party members about how the Northland by-election result signals some kind of oncoming electoral apocalypse for the New Zealand National Party, which they've been fond of saying inside and outside Parliament for a good 2 years. So I do agree with Dennis O'Rourke that by-elections are no indication of electoral support in general elections. Likewise, the by-election that we've most recently had in Mount Roskill, and I suspect also the upcoming by-election in Mount Albert as well, which will be comprehensive wins probably to the Labour Party, I would venture to suggest, sir, are no indications of support in the future. But of course, they are part of the criteria for a good reason. But I think Dennis O'Rourke shot himself in the foot there. The second thing I wanted to just quickly respond to was this idea. He seemed bewildered, he seemed mystified by the idea that the Electoral Commission should take into account arrangements between particular political parties. And of course that is an historical hangover, I suspect, sir, from the days of the Alliance in 1999. And Tracy Martin says, oh, that's outdated. But actually, we saw another example of an alliance-type arrangement at the last general election, when months before the polling day, the Mana and Internet Mana parties decided to join forces together to mount exactly the moment. It was Amy Adams says it was a moment of truth, certainly a moment of truth for someone and some particular political parties. And of course, they decided to combine together to put forward, try and get as many votes as possible during the campaign. So that's exactly why we have those parts of those criteria. So with those very technical rebuttal points made in the debate so far, I will commend this bill to the House. Thank you.